You did put out a video maybe a month or two ago talking about AI and music.
Yeah.
And you said it was, quote, unethical to use AI in the process of songwriting. And I would love for you to expand upon that.
I have a lot of thoughts on AI, and I think in general, I'm comfortable saying I'm anti-AI. When it comes to using AI for any creative work, I feel the most energy behind that. I think that if you're going to use AI for like creating a spreadsheet, organizing something that's like very data driven, something like that, that doesn't make me feel nearly as bad as if you're going to write a song or if you're going to make a poster or any of those things. I think the ethical dilemma with AI is there's a range to it. There's the reality of like water and the consumption and the data centers and all of it's like there's so many ways to take this, but specifically for songwriting, what I said in that video starts with the reality of there's a human behind the creation of an AI song. And I think most people, when they are thinking about AI, they think of it as a sentient being, and it's not yet. And the experience of writing a song is so profound and fulfilling as a songwriter. It is expansive. It is hard. It is joyful. It's like every range of emotions you could have, you can get in the creative process, not just songwriting, but painting or like sculpture, anything that you're taking nothing and turning it into something is creation. And we all are capable of that. And I think AI has essentially given people an easy button. And so people understandably seek that because a lot of people don't want to deal with like the grit of the creative process. But the sad part about that is that it takes away from the finished product and it takes away from the process for the individual. And it also just feels, I think, as a reader or as a listener or as somebody who's looking at these, horrible graphics, like I feel a visceral repulsion to that. And sometimes I know that because I'm also in like the graphic design world, I see it differently than other people see it. But there's a handful of people and places, like even around the Seacoast, that I see using AI to make their poster now. And I'm like, oh, damn, I want to support this band and I want to go see that show, but I really don't want to support this aspect of it. Is it going to stop me from going to see the band? No, it's not going to, because the band isn't making an AI song. It's just that the venue chose to make the graphic that way.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of that as well.
Right. But it's frustrating. And it's also like, it's frustrating as a small business owner who makes things like that they would choose to do it that way. I think it's...
But can you fault them for it, though? I mean, considering it is an easy button, it's cheap, it's fast, you don't have to hire someone to do it. Like, I understand from their perspective why they would go that route.
Yeah.
It's probably not their preferred routes. They would want to work with someone like you, but, money's tight these days.
Yeah, I think that the logic isn't the problem. It makes sense logically to use AI for a lot of reasons, but it doesn't make ethical sense to me. And I think ultimately it doesn't make like human sense. Realistically, the product that you get from a human being is going to be better than AI. It just is, specifically in the creative world.
Yeah. And this is something I think about. So in the podcasting world right now, I don't have the number off the top of my head, but there's a significant percentage of podcasts available for consumption right now that are completely AI generated. Mm-hmm. And Spotify just came out with a new feature where you can basically create your own podcast for you to listen to. So like you can type into Spotify, I don't know if this is launched yet, but you can type into Spotify, like, give me a personalized podcast that talks about New Hampshire news, about the Boston Red Sox, and about Silicon Valley. And then it will create for you a completely AI generated 15-minute podcast that hits on all of the things that you want to hear about. And I'm like, I absolutely hate that.
Yeah. And it's also stealing. Because it's
stealing,
pulling.
because it's probably going to pull something from
Absolutely.
Seacoast Stories, from the Boston Globe, whatever. So I hate that. But from the creator standpoint, I get why we hate these things. But I'm wondering from the consumer who does not have the trained ears that we do, or the trained eyes that you have for graphic design, does it ultimately matter to the consumer if it appears that the quality is just about equal human versus AI, and you don't know that it's AI generated? The second that I know something is AI generated, I'm like, fuck this. But if I don't know that it's AI generated and it seems like it's done by a human, I'm not sure if anyone is going to care.
I think sadly that you're probably right.
Yeah.
I think not anyone, but I think the masses don't care.
Yeah.
Ultimately. And that's why AI is on the rise. Like there's a reason why, you're seeing all of this AI work, and it's not only because it's easy, it's because most people aren't going to stop taking an action because something is AI. So like I said earlier, I'm not going to not go support this band because the venue is using an AI graphic. Yeah. That to me feels different. If it was like do I want to go to that restaurant and support that restaurant?
Right.
Like separate from the band situation. I don't know. It's like, is it a restaurant I already didn't care that much?
It's like I have a friend who writes on social media, writes these emotional, elaborate posts that are completely AI generated.
Oh God.
She speaks nothing like this in real life. And I see these posts and I don't even bother reading. Cause I'm like, that's not you. Like, that's not the person I know. Like, I'm not even going to bother interacting with that. And everything I know, when I can tell immediately that it's AI generated, I'm like, no, but
yeah. I mean, I have clients.
That gap is going to close as this gets better.
Right. I mean, I think currently AI is, it's in like its infancy.
Yeah.
So it is only going to get better, but it's also therefore only going to get worse in the like larger problem that we're having. Like the amount of jobs that are already, like if you look at Meta and Google and all of these like bigger companies, thousands and thousands of people are being laid off just this year. Yeah. And it will only get worse. And it's not because they don't need, like, there's so many people who are like, the answer isn't to not use AI. The answer is to know how to use AI well. And
that's what so many of the commencement speeches were about this year.
Yeah.
It was like, get with the times, learn how to use it.
Right. Which I don't agree with, but I understand the logic behind it. Like, the reality is, like, if you're graduating from college right now and you want to go into any career, if you don't know how to use it, it's like if you didn't know how to type 20 years ago, like you're not 40 years ago, you're not going to easily get a job, you know? It just feels like the problem ultimately ends up being this larger societal problem that I think that we have in the ways in which we raise human beings. Is we're not raising them to have any real grit anymore. Like, there's the generation below us, like there's just such a, like, how do we make this as easy as possible? Like, if you talk to teachers in this last few generations, there's the parents, the helicopter parenting, the experience of like, they want it to be as without any friction. Exactly. And that's actually been so proven that it's the worst thing you can do for your kid. Like the reason that you have like 20-something-year-olds not feeling confident, feeling anxious all the time, feeling depressed all the time, I think one of the big reasons is because they are raised to not have confidence that they can do what they actually want to do. Mm-hmm. You know, they're not in touch enough with their own selves as children to know how to recognize that this is something I really want to do and I'm going to go after it and that I'm capable. I think that's this huge part of it is, how do we teach kids to know that they are capable? And the reality of being able to like sit with the frustration, sit with the boredom, like there's so much in that needs to be at the focus.
Yeah. I think this just happened, at least the day we're speaking, that the UK, following Australia's lead,
16-year-olds
phone ban for under 16.
I saw that too.
Which
I think is amazing.
And I would love to, because I know New Hampshire adopted this as well, like a no not to this extent, but the no phones in school policy. So I should talk to someone about how that's going. But this gives me hope because as we've talked about, smartphones and now moving the conversation onto AI, like when do we realize that we've gone too far and are we going to do anything about it? And so measures like this give me hope that, okay, maybe we are actually starting to realize based on all, some of the studies that are coming out based on the subjects that we've just spoken about, that like, all right, we've got to rein this in. Maybe all of this went too fast. Maybe we got too greedy. Maybe we don't need all of this stuff. Maybe it's not aiding the human experience as much as perhaps we thought, so we should rein it in. Because I'm wondering with AI, like, are we going to hit a point where we finally realize we don't need this?
Well, we don't need it. We didn't have it a handful of years ago.
This is harming us more than it was ever going to help us. And so, I mean, as a history major, I look back on all kind of the similar moments like this. We dropped the atomic bomb in 1945. That was a major thing that shifted warfare forward and how we in diplomacy moving forward. And I mean, knock on wood, we haven't used it since because we realized, all right, maybe we went a little too far there. And so I'm wondering if we will have that kind of realization with AI as well, because I'm hoping that we do. But
I think it's inevitable, but I think unfortunately that there is a like mainstream way in which people think, and then there are like the fringe people. And I think that the concept of being like anti-AI right now is mostly fringe. Like it's not the main experience. It's turning into it, I think, more quickly this year, like even probably specifically because of all of the data centers that are like coming into communities, and people are going into their town council meetings and being like, look at my brown water. Look at the reality of like the hum or that buzz that happens outside of these data centers that never goes away. Mm-hmm. Like look at the agriculture effects. Like there are just so many reasons to me why AI just shouldn't be used. And like that's why I don't use AI in my company. Like I would never use AI to design something. Like the only times I've ever used AI is truly when I'm like, I need to write this code and there's some problem with it. And I can't access the platform because my client doesn't have the level of privilege to talk to a real human, and I can only talk to an AI, and they're not giving me the right answer. And so I go to I like literally use like I Google, and then that pulls in Gemini with the answer. And so for something like that, that's like very black and white, like, oh, you forgot a comma. Okay. Yeah. But that's it for me. And even that, honestly, I feel like unethical because I am so like, I don't want to use AI. And in that example, if AI didn't exist in that example, I would have literally just called my friend who is a developer and been like, how do I change this code?
Devil's advocate, those of us who are anti-AI, is it possible that we are falling into the same camp as the people who were anti-cell phone, who were anti the radio and anti the microwave? And anytime there's a new technology, television, streaming, like anytime there's a new technology, there is always going to be a sector of people who push back and say, this is going to kill the way that humans interact with each other and our lifestyle. This is bad. Is it possible that 20 years from now, we're like, oh, remember when we all thought AI was a stupid thing? It's only been a net positive.
I think that they're completely different. And the reason I think that is because the people who created AI, created the algorithms, don't understand how they work. And they've written an open letter to Congress to essentially tell them this needs to be regulated because we don't know how this functions. That's terrifying. The person who created the microwave knows how it worked, and the cell phone knows how it works. So I think what's hard about this is because this is actually a very common argument. This is a very common argument. It's like, you're just being left behind and you're a dinosaur, like you're such a boomer for not all that shit, But I think the reality of AI is, first of all, we don't even have like the level of AI that we see now is not what is going to happen. It is so far beyond that. Like it's not within our comprehension, honestly. And I'm not saying this because I'm just like, oh, I think this. It's like the people that I follow who are like the top AI experts are saying this, that we have to regulate the shit out of this or we will be fucked. And sadly, there's only like a few people in Congress, hi, thank you, Bernie Sanders, who are actually talking about this. And not only that, like the reality is that AI is scraping the data that humans have created. And none of those humans are getting kickback in terms of monetary kickback. And they're also not getting credit in terms of like literal, like you wrote this and I'm taking it. And they're not giving permission. You can't actually, like, I know musicians, small scale musicians right now who are getting AI generated songs written by them. Like this, it's in their voice, or there's a video that's their voice and it's somebody else doing it. But again, what's infuriating about this is that it's not a sentient AI being making that thing. It's a human behind their computer making an unethical choice to steal that from some artist who actually put in the work, which is insane to me because, like, yes, we should be frustrated with AI and the whole concept, but who we should be frustrated with are the people behind the AI businesses and the people who are behind the AI songs and all of that, because right now, AI is not doing it on its own.